Morning, Poots. I'm back again, and we've got a bit to talk about today, but it's not going to take too long. I think 10 minutes and we'll be done today, because you've got a lot to do, and it's during the week. You haven't got 2 hours to watch a video or anything, so we'll crack on with it. First thing is the referees. They're adopting FIFA guidelines this season, which is going to mean more injury time, basically. Probably an extra 5 to 10 minutes extra, and that's probably each half. Although people are saying 10 minutes, I suspect it's going to be probably 5 minutes in the second half and an extra couple of minutes at half time. So, but it could make a difference, and it's going to affect our players a little bit. They've made a few other changes as well. They're going to be more lenient on physical challenges. Well, I think what's going to happen there is the players are going to test it, aren't they? They're going to try and see what they can get away with. And we could see a few injuries there, I think, but we shall have to wait and see. And the other thing is the managers. They've got to stay in their dugout area. And they're cutting down on dissent. So I can see Klopp. He's not going to be spending much time at the sideline, is he? He's going to be up back of the stands there, sulking, because Jackson would have gone through on goal, got a goal that was just onside, and Klopp would be ranting and raving, storming up and down the touchline, pointing fingers at people. Next thing, he's going to be out, where he belongs, at the back of the stand. Anyway, so that's that, and it's going to affect a few things, isn't it? We're going to get, it's not very good for defenders, are only good for a clean sheet, because we're going to get less clean sheets, I suspect. It's going to be only an extra 4 or 5 minutes, but that's kind of the time when the goals go in, isn't it? You've got tired legs. The attacking team will be bringing on all their 5 subs, and they'll be really going for it. And your defender, you're going to have Botman, and you're clinging on for your clean sheet, and then that prick Eze is going to come running down the field, slot it home. You're going to lose your clean sheet. You're not going to have Eze, and you're going to have a miserable week on Twitter, aren't you? All because the referee went and added on an extra couple of minutes. So it's going to be grim, peeps. It's going to be awful, and we're going to suffer. It's going to be the suffering in those last 10 minutes. It's going to be shocking, isn't it? Especially on double Chelsea defence or something. You know what's going to happen. And the keepers aren't so bad, because they can get an extra save point if they're lucky out of it. Might be a few more saves. I can see I'm looking pretty dark on the video there, aren't I? I was in the sun before, but the sun's disappeared. And I can't be bothered opening the lights up. Anyway, peeps, so there's going to be more substitutions. We can see managers are going to use all 5 of them. And the good news there, I think, is if you've got a player like Trossard, I think they now become more valuable, because on the weeks where they don't start, they're going to get, imagine if Trossard comes on after 60 minutes, like he tends to, 60 or 65, he's going to get a lot more time now to actually get points, and he's going to have an extra 5 minutes against really tired legs. And he did well enough last season coming on and getting assists and that, so you can see it's going to benefit players like him, especially when they're playing weak opposition. It might well be worth taking a chance on a player like Darwin, etc. when they've got an easy fixture. Even if they don't start the game, they're going to be on there for like 30, 40 minutes. So that's one other thing. And it's going to favour players that stay on the pitch as well, isn't it? You want players that don't get subbed off. Like supposing Rashford goes at 65 minutes or whatever. Normally that's only like 25 minutes. Now it's going to be more like 35 minutes. And it improves prospects of players like Fernandes, doesn't it? Again, it's only slightly, but over the course of a season, if they keep that up all season, then it could make a difference, like 5 or 10 points difference to your defenders and the players that stay on longer. And this is why I'm might change who I pick. Maybe not, but it's making me think about a few things. I sat down today, and I'm going to be busy the next few days. So I sat down, and this is the stage before finalising my team. So the next stop is the Charity Shield. Everything will be clear, because all these alternative names I've got written down here under the players, they're all basically determined by what Arsenal does in the Charity Shield. I'd be looking at Jesus. If he's rubbish, I've got Nunez written down there, but I'm wavering on him as well. I'm thinking if Jesus is rubbish, I'm actually going to get another Chelsea striker in. I'm going to start the season with 2 Chelsea strikers because I can't make my mind up between Jackson and Nkunku now, because like I said, this referee thing, Nkunku's going to get a lot more minutes, and the other thing is that Chelsea are waffling on about bringing in another striker, and you've got to be careful with Chelsea because they don't tend to announce their transfers until they happen. So you could be quite sitting here not suspecting a transfer is incoming, and then the next day one gets announced, and it's unlikely to knock Jackson's place out. But like I said, with minutes, he could be getting a lot less minutes than Nkunku. And Nkunku's actually starting to come into form. You know, a week or 2 ago when I put Jackson in, Jackson was like streaks ahead of him. Absolutely streaks ahead of him. I mean, Jackson's still playing as well as he was, but Nkunku's definitely improving. So I've got 3 million in the bank. So money's not an issue. Same with Fernandes. I could get Rashford in. The higher priced one, I could get Nkunku instead of Jackson. It'll all depend on the Chelsea game against Dortmund and the Charity Shield, I suspect. But the Rashford-Fernandes debate, again, I might now decide with Fernandes because of this referee thing. I mean, I was undecided before. But the thing with Rashford, though, it's going to favour him. Now they've got a new striker. That's going to favour Rashford a bit more, I think. Although it does give Fernandes someone to pick out for an assist, doesn't it? It's hard to know. But basically, this is it, my team. I've sorted my bench out. Happy with all of them. We might get some more news on a 4 million keeper before the start of the season, but I put Botman in. I spent an extra $500,000. I didn't want 2 4.0s in, really. And I'm thinking that once the fixtures get better for Newcastle, he's there, he's ready, he can always come on. It's not going to do, you know, if he does have to come on any week, there's always a chance Newcastle can get a clean sheet, isn't there, even against a good team. Anyway, that's about it, peeps, except I want to tell you that I went out for a run today and I came up with an idea. And if it comes off, I think it's going to have quite a big impact on the FPL community, because you've heard me sitting here moaning about Scout and Hub and all this and the way it's all going, but there's no point just moaning about it. You have to do something about it, don't you? And I've got a plan, and I've got to talk to like 3 or 4 people first to gauge the level of interest. And if there's interest in it, then you'll be hearing, you know, within the next week or so, you'll be hearing something that might change the landscape a little bit in FPL, Twitterland, and the social side of things. So anyway, peeps, that's about it, and I'm off now, and I might talk to you again after. I might actually do one after the friendlies tomorrow, just to talk about the friendlies. I was actually thinking of renaming this YouTube channel to the Eye Test, because that's what I'm doing this year, is Eye Test. Eye Test and basic stats like shots in the box, shots on target, all that sort of thing. Quick glance at XG, but not a huge glance at XG. And basically, the eye test. And I've worked out this season, you don't need to watch every game, do you? There's a lot of games you don't really need to watch. I don't need to watch like Luton playing Burnley and things like that, because the way the pricing is this season, I mean, if you look at my team, they're all from top 6 sides, aren't they? So really, I just need to watch the juicy matches, you know, the Chelseas and the Tottenhams and the Arsenals and those sort of matches. Pay thorough attention to them, and then work out what I'm doing, you know, and watch the news on them. It cuts out half the league, and you don't have to worry about what the other half is up to. I used to have to look at all the local newspapers and everything for all the like lower teams, trying to find information on various players, etc. But honestly, I mean, we don't really need to, do we? Because it's only really, even if you get them, it's only going to be for your bench. You know, you've got players like Eze. And the other thing is I've got Matoma in there. Now, it's not because I think Matoma's a better player than Eze or a better player than Mbeumo or any of those other 6.5s. In fact, I wasn't even going to have a 6.5 because, like I said, I got 3 million in the bank. But he's there purely for his fixtures. I mean, I see a lot of people are analysing whether he's been found out and all this. But to be honest, I don't really care because it's only for 3 weeks and he's playing Luton. So it doesn't matter if clubs have found him out or not. I mean, Luton haven't even played against him yet, have they? So he's perfect. He's a perfect springboard because him and Eustapian are there for 3 weeks. And if I do go in with 3 Chelsea into the season, I won't be having to bring any Chelsea players in. So I can go save a free transfer. And I can go straight to Tottenham from my Brighton players, straight into Tottenham. There's enough in the bank to go from Mitoma straight up to Son. Or I can get Richarlison. Because Chelsea and Tottenham, they're the teams that you need to target, I think. We don't know who to get from Tottenham yet, unless they turn out to be really rubbish. But that is where you can get ahead. You know, if picking the Chelsea players now, that is you might get a few less points, but you're going to save 2 future transfers, and that's huge in my opinion, because while everyone's getting Chelsea players in for game week 3, I'll be getting in Tottenham players or whatever, and I'll be ahead of the curve, although they will have to take hits, which will kind of undo the few extra points they might get from not having Chelsea in game week 1, although we never know, do we? You know, they could batter Liverpool, especially for strikers, you know, and Chilwell for that matter. They're all capable of getting points, aren't they? Whatever the opposition, I think, especially early in the season before Liverpool's sorted their defence and midfield out, because let's face it, they're not great. I mean, Leicester ripped them apart in the first half the other week, and that's partly why I'm not sure about Nunez, because Klopp was very critical, wasn't he? Very critical that Nunez isn't defending as well as he should. So, you know, you could end up seeing Gakpo, and getting Nunez in and then having Gakpo play would really be annoying, because then I'd have to spend a transfer changing a striker, and that's really, this team's designed not to. But like I said, it's very template, isn't it, this team? Very template. But it honestly isn't my fault, peeps. You know, Chilwell and Jackson, they were in nobody's team 2 weeks ago when I put them in. But they just played so damn well, haven't they? That's the problem. So now they're template as well. So what can you do? What can you do? I mean, it's easy to say go non-template, but you're just guessing. If you get Tottenham players or anything now, you're just guessing, aren't you? So really, this sort of team is the same sort of team everybody's got here. But honestly, this season, I don't think there's a huge number of options, really. You know, you can change Mitoma to somebody else, or you can change Jesus to Watkins or something, but you're not going to change much, are you, really? You're always going to have your Arsenal defender or 2 Arsenal midfielders, and maybe some people got a Man United defender. I might bring a Man United keeper, and I haven't decided yet. Anyway, Pips, I'm off now, so we'll look out for that news anyway, because something might well break in the next week. Something big, you know, very big, major breaking story. And anyway, like and subscribe, because